The average home in the United Kingdom now costs £270,000. That is not a penthouse in Mayfair. That is not a converted barn in the Cotswolds. That is the national average. A perfectly ordinary house on a perfectly ordinary street. But the regional reality is starkly different. In London, the average property price now sits at approximately £585,000. In the southeast, prices exceed £350,000. Across England as a whole, the average is £291,000. Meanwhile, the typical 5-year fixed mortgage rate is hovering around 4.5%. The Bank of England base rate stands at 3.75%. That is down from its peak, but it is a long way from the 1 or 2% deals that were available just 4 years ago. Now here is the number that should make you sit up. In England, the median home now costs 7.6 times the median annual salary. In 2001, that ratio was just 4.6. So, in barely a generation, housing has gone from expensive to, for many, mathematically impossible, at least on a single income. So the question is not, can I afford a house? The real question is, what house can your salary actually buy, right now, in the real world? That is exactly what we are going to break down today. No fantasies, no fluff, just the maths. Before we examine what each salary bracket can buy, you need to understand one number: 4.5. That is the standard income multiplier used by almost every major UK lender. Barclays, NatWest, Halifax, Nationwide, and the rest all take your gross annual salary and multiply it by 4.5. That is your maximum mortgage. Full stop. Earn £39,039, the current UK median for a full-time worker, and the bank will lend you a maximum of roughly £175,500. Not a penny more. But here is what most people do not realise. The bank does not care what rate you are paying today. They stress test your ability to repay at a much higher rate, typically the lender's standard variable rate plus 3 percentage points. In practice, that means they are checking whether you could still make your payments if rates hit 7 or even 8%. That is why many buyers walk into a mortgage appointment expecting one number and walk out with a much smaller one. The bank is not being cruel. It is protecting itself. And frankly, it is protecting you. Some specialist lenders will stretch to 5.5 times salary, but those deals come with higher rates, bigger deposits, and stricter conditions. For this video, we will use 4.5, because that is the real-world reality for the vast majority of British buyers. Let us start where most of the country sits. The most recent ONS data puts the median full-time salary in the United Kingdom at £39,039. Multiply by 4.5, and your maximum mortgage is £175,676. Add a 10% deposit, roughly £19,500 that you have somehow scraped together, and your total buying power is approximately £195,000. Now, where does that get you on the property ladder? In the northeast, you are in the game. Average prices there sit around £170,000. In Yorkshire, parts of the Midlands, and large swathes of the northwest, you can find solid 2- and 3-bedroom terraced and semi-detached homes within range. In Wales, the average property is £212,000, just above your ceiling, but there are plenty of areas where prices dip below it. But here is where reality bites. In the southeast, average prices are north of £350,000. In London, the average property is £585,000. On a single median salary, London is not a conversation. It is a fantasy. Let us talk monthly payments. A £175,000 mortgage over 25 years at 4.5% costs you roughly £968 per month. Your take-home pay, after tax, national insurance, and a 5% pension contribution is approximately £2,500. That means your mortgage alone eats 38.7% of your net income. We have not even added council tax, which averages around £160 per month in England, home insurance at roughly £40, plus energy, water, and broadband. Add it all up and you are pushing 50% of your take-home pay on housing-related costs. That is the uncomfortable truth for the median earner buying a loan. You can get on the ladder, but it will be tight. Very tight. And that is assuming you can find that £19,000 deposit in the first place. Now, you are in an entirely different race with £100,000. That puts you in the top 6% of all UK earners. Let us see what that actually means in bricks and mortar. Multiply by 4.5 and your maximum mortgage is £450,000. Add a 10% deposit of £50,000 and your total budget is £500,000. In most of England, outside the capital, you are buying a genuinely beautiful home. In Leeds, Manchester or Birmingham, £500,000 buys a spacious 4-bedroom detached property with a garden, a driveway and possibly a garage. In Bristol or Edinburgh, you are looking at an excellent 3-bedroom house in a desirable postcode. In the northeast, you are practically buying a small mansion. But London? £500,000 gets you a 2-bedroom flat in Zone 3. Maybe a small 3-bedroom house in outer boroughs like Barking or Croydon. The average London property is £585,000. So even on £100,000 a year, you are barely scraping the average. That should tell you everything about the state of the London property market. And here is something that catches a lot of people completely off guard. Once you earn over £100,000, you start losing your personal allowance. For every £2 you earn above £100,000, you lose £1 of your £12,570 tax-free allowance. By the time you reach £125,140, it is gone entirely. That creates an effective marginal tax rate of 60% in that income band. So your take-home pay does not scale the way you might expect. After income tax, national insurance, and a 5% pension contribution, your monthly take-home on £100,000 is closer to £5,400, not the £6,000 or £7,000 that many people assume. Here is the reality of the British housing market in 2026. For most people, the path to homeownership does not run through a single salary. It runs through two. According to the Financial Conduct Authority, 60% of all mortgages approved in the UK are now based on joint income. Take two median earners. Combined salary, £78,078. Multiply by 4.5 and your joint maximum mortgage is £351,351. Add a 10% deposit and your total budget is roughly £390,000. Now we are talking. In most cities outside London, £390,000 unlocks a solid 3 or 4 bedroom family home. In Nottingham, Sheffield or Leicester, you could buy a detached house with money to spare. In the commuter belt, Reading, Milton Keynes and parts of Kent, you are competitive. Even in outer London, you can start looking at 2-bedroom flats or smaller terraced houses. It is not luxurious, but it is on the ladder. And if both partners earn £50,000, which is above median but increasingly common in professional households, the maths changes dramatically. Combined salary, £100,000. Maximum mortgage, £450,000. With a £50,000 deposit, your budget is £500,000. At that level, you are competitive almost anywhere in the country, except prime central London. You can buy a beautiful family home in Manchester, a period property in Edinburgh, or a spacious 4-bedroom house with a garden in Bristol or Cambridge. That is the dual income advantage. It does not just add, it transforms your entire position in the market. You have found your dream house. You have your mortgage offer in hand. Job done, right? Not even close. Because the British property system has a special surprise waiting. Stamp duty land tax. As of April 2025, the temporary relief thresholds that have been in place since the pandemic are gone. The nil rate band for standard buyers has dropped back down to £125,000. And for first-time buyers, it has fallen from £425,000 to £300,000. Here is how it works. For a standard home buyer, you pay 0 on the first £125,000, then 2% on the next £125,000, up to £250,000, then 5% on everything between £250,000 and £925,000, 10% up to £1.5 million, and 12% on anything above that. First-time buyers get a break. 0% on the first £300,000 and 5% on the slice between £300,000 and £500,000. But if the property costs more than £500,000, you lose the relief entirely and pay the full standard rates. Let us make it real. A first-time buyer purchasing a £400,000 home pays £5,000 in stamp duty. A home mover buying the same property pays £7,500. And if you are buying an additional property, a buy-to-let or second home, you add a 5% surcharge on top of every single band. That same £400,000 purchase now costs you over £30,000 in tax before you even turn the key. But stamp duty is only the headline. Here is the full bill nobody mentions when they quote you a house price. Solicitor and conveyancing fees, £1,000 to £2,000. A home buyer survey, £400 to £700. Mortgage arrangement fee, up to £1,000. Removal costs, £500 to £1,500. And if you are a leaseholder, you may face ground rent, service charges, or management fees on top. Add it up. On a £300,000 home with a 10% deposit, your total upfront cost before you even collect the keys is north of £35,000. That is a deposit plus $10,000 to $15,000 in fees and taxes stacked on top. Budget for it, because it is coming whether you have planned for it or not. The bank will tell you the maximum they will lend, but the bank does not care whether you can afford to eat after making the payment. So here is the formula that actually matters. The 30% rule. Take your gross monthly income and multiply it by 0.30. That is your maximum total housing cost. Not just the mortgage, everything. The mortgage payment, council tax, buildings insurance, service charges, all of it. Let us run it on the median salary. £39,000 gives you a gross monthly income of £3,253. 30% of that is £975. Now, subtract council tax, call it £160. Insurance, £40. That leaves you with £775 for your actual mortgage payment. At 4.5% over 25 years, £775 per month supports a mortgage of roughly £140,000. Not £175,000. Not the bank maximum. That is a £35,000 gap between what the bank will lend you and what you can comfortably live with. And that gap is the difference between owning a home and owning a financial headache that keeps you awake at 3 in the morning. And if you are watching this as a first-time buyer thinking, how on earth do I save £30,000 or £40,000? There is one tool you absolutely must know about. The Lifetime ISA. You can contribute up to £4,000 per year. The government tops it up by 25%. That is £1,000 of free money every year just for saving towards a home. Over 5 years, that is £25,000, assuming even modest investment growth. It is not fast. Nobody is pretending it is fast. But it is the most tax-efficient way to build a deposit in the UK right now. And if you are not using one, you are leaving money on the table. Free money on the table. So let us bring it all together. On a median salary of £39,000, you can buy a home in the UK. But realistically, that home will be in the North, the Midlands, or Wales. And it will stretch your budget right to the edge. On a single salary, London and the South East are effectively closed. At £100,000, you unlock most of the country. But even then, London barely lets you through the door, and the tax system starts pulling in the opposite direction, taking more than you expect. The most realistic path for the majority of UK buyers in 2026 is 2 incomes. A dual-income household, earning a combined £78,000 to £100,000, can genuinely compete in almost every property market outside Zone 1. But regardless of your bracket, whether you earn £39,000 or £100,000, the bank maximum is not your budget. Your budget is the 30% rule. The number that lets you pay your mortgage, heat your home, feed your family, save for the future, and still sleep at night. Your home should be the foundation of your wealth, the springboard, the asset that grows quietly while you live in it. It should never ever be the thing that drowns you. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. I will see you in the next one.